Hi, my name is Frank, and I'm here at Whistler with Angela, my wife. We're doing our annual CPE excursion and having a great time here in Whistler, and just met Stuart for the first time here this morning. First time we've been in this class, enjoyed it a lot. And when I came in this morning, had no idea that I was going to be recruited for a video. So when you give me short notice, this is what you get, so take it or leave it. And during the class this morning, we had some exposure to a lot of videos, and one of them was on ERP systems, and that's something that I think I know a little bit about. I've been involved with a few. And I listened to Maggie's presentation this morning, and I thought she was spot on in what she had to say, and thought I would add a couple of points to it, at least based on my experience. I think that if you're going to start off on one of those kinds of projects, I think that it's important to realize right up front that even in an absolute best case scenario, it's going to be a very, very expensive project, and the bosses really need to understand before they begin that it is going to be an expensive project, even in the best case scenario. And of course, if it doesn't go well, then it just gets worse from there. So recognize going in that it's going to be very expensive, and once that recognition is there, to make sure that you secure executive sponsorship so you have the support of the bosses in everything that you do. I would say point number 2, after you've secured the support of the bosses, is to make sure the organization is one that allows the project to progress. When I say that, what I actually mean is that if you're going to have somebody who's ultimately responsible for the project, then that person has to have complete control in terms of reporting relationships with everybody who's working on the project. The organization will not work well, in my view, if you have multiple people reporting up through various reporting lines through the organization. You either have complete control and somebody in charge, or else nobody is in charge. And just to make sure that I'm expressing myself properly, I would say that a good example of this is a situation where in some companies you will see a business project structured separately from an IT project, and that you'll have in fact dual project managers, if you want, one responsible for the business side, one responsible for the IT side. And of course, when things go wrong, you have each of them looking at the other saying that things are going wrong on the other side, but at the end of the day, you're going to have a disaster, and there's not one person responsible for the result. The solution is that the business leader, in my mind, is the one who's got the ultimate responsibility for the solution and ultimate responsibility for the end product. And I think that the IT person has to report to the business leader.
So what you're saying is, up front, ensure that there's an understanding that there is an ultimate leader, which is on the business side, and the IT side is a sub-leader to that person.
Exactly.
And if that happens, what's going to happen?
Then at the end of the day, there's one person who's ultimately responsible for all the decisions that are made in the project, good or bad. Just to be clear, the packaged software that you buy off the shelf, although very expensive to set up, becomes much, much more difficult and more expensive to maintain if you change it. If you change it, then the vendor no longer supports it, and as a result of that, you end up having an organization in place that supports the changes. So in fact, you've defeated your main purpose in trying to come up with a cheaper IT solution. It'll actually be more expensive.
So the cheaper solution overall is to do the opposite, which is?
Adjust the processes to fit the software. Do not adjust the software. The last words are that if you're not able to adjust your business processes to fit the software, then don't buy the software in the first place. Build your system from scratch, and that way you'll be guaranteed to have exactly what you want.
Hi, my name's Angela, and I'm married to Frank. We actually work for the same company, and I'm actually one of the users of the system that he's going to put in. And The one point that I would like to add, watching this from the sidelines, is that if you're going to have a leader that is going to be responsible for this ERP system, you have to have two things. You have to have a leader that people trust and that they will follow, and you also have to have a leader that will make decisions and can stand by it. And that specifically was why he was put in charge of this job.
So when things get messy, you won't get political. It'll be based on what's best for the system and best for everybody?
That's right. It's about the facts.
It's the facts, not what's politically correct.
Hopefully that's the way it works out.